Hello creative friends, I hope you're having a lovely arty start to the year. I have been the busiest little butterfly these past few weeks, moving my whole life down to Tasmania in Australia to set up a new art studio. So let me tell you all about it. My family in Queensland kindly stored all of my lovely art things for me while I was travelling for the past 3 years. So I had to sort out everything and pack to move it all back down to Tasmania, which if you've been watching my channel for a while, you might remember is where I used to live for a couple of years, basically at the beginning of this YouTube channel. I lived in the countryside and it was lovely, so Dan and I are moving back down there to do it all again and find ourselves a little place to make home, and more importantly, set up an art studio to work from. Even when you think you don't have much stuff, it's amazing how much you accumulate, especially when we need to fit it all in a tiny car. But we made it work somehow and set off with our most precious belongings, which is mostly my art supplies, some books, some wall art, and a couple of computers and Dan's coffee machine. Australia is really big, so it takes 3 solid days of driving to get from Brisbane down to Melbourne, but we did it over 5 days so that we could stop and enjoy some time at the coast on our way down. Because Australia has so many lovely beaches, it would be a shame not to admire them on the way. Once we got to Melbourne, we boarded the Spirit of Tasmania, which is a huge ferry that you just drive straight onto, and it takes you the 12 hours across to Tasmania, which is basically a huge island off the bottom of mainland Australia. And just like that, we're back and we live here now. We managed to find ourselves a little house to rent for a few months, so at last we can settle into our own place and get to work building an art studio space to work from and creating some nice new routines. It has been such a long time since I had solid routines. I've done my best to have habits while I've been unsettled the past few years, but I'm really looking forward to properly being able to set myself up with lovely creative routines again. We have literally zero furniture, so the first thing I did was go and buy a secondhand desk from the charity shop and a little chair for it so that I could have a space to work and draw. They also just so happened to have a nice big secondhand easel for sale, so naturally I had to get that as well. Literally before I even had a mattress to sleep on, I ended up with an easel for my studio. I think it would be lovely to play around with some painting on canvas once I get a bit more settled in. I haven't ever spent much time painting large scale, but it would be nice to give it a go and start building those skills. I organized my pencils into different colors because I like the idea of having my art supplies on display and also as a visual cue to be creative. I definitely feel like my environment impacts what I spend my time doing. So if I see my pencils all the time, it just makes it a bit easier to think of jumping into drawing something. So now I have a lovely little art desk. It came with this vise on it, but I quite like that about it and I can always upgrade later if it starts getting in the way. And now I'm able to start making some art. I've been really enjoying playing around in my sketchbook lately, so I took a quick little class to give me some more ideas that I found on Skillshare, who are the sponsor of today's video, and it's called the Sketchbook Fillers Club, 4 Powerful Guidelines for Stunning Spreads by Dylan Mierzwinski. Dylan provides a framework for filling out sketchbook pages and offers some ideas for different types of spreads that are beginner friendly and customizable to what you individually find inspiring. I like that one of her inspirations is simply looking at your art supplies and seeing what you feel excited to use on a particular day. And I just got these soft pastels, and wanting to play with them was enough inspiration to get them out and start just blocking out colors with them, which is one of the things she suggests starting with. Skillshare has lots of lovely classes on all sorts of creative topics like illustration, Procreate, and creative careers. And I also have some of my own classes on there that you might enjoy as well, like my Start Your Art Habit in 7 Days class, where I take you through 7 guided sketchbook sessions to kickstart your creative habit. You can take all of these classes for free because the first 500 people to click the link in my description or scan the QR code will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, which you could use to learn lots of lovely new creative skills this month. I've been playing around with colour a bit more lately because, as you might have seen from my last couple of videos, I've set myself my own creative curriculum for this year to just have a bit of structure around what I'm focusing my creative learning time on. And for the first 2 months of the year, I'm exploring colour and the moods of colour and how I could use them differently to how I typically do. I share everything about my curriculum over on Patreon, so be sure to join me over there if you'd like to join in. You of course don't have to join for the full year, but I've mapped out my curriculum for all of 2026, so come and go as you please. I got some cheap art supplies this week, like these jelly gouache tubs and like the soft pastels I was just using. I don't think I've ever used either, and although the cheaper entry-level art supplies aren't likely to be as good as the more expensive, more professional grade supplies, I like that I don't have any pressure when they're affordable and I can be really free and play around with them without any stress. These are from Kmart, which is like our discount department store in Australia, so I don't expect them to be amazing, but as long as they let me get marks and colours on the paper, then that's the main thing that I'm looking for. When I have really nice art supplies, I feel like I want to protect them and only make really nice art with them, which can be a bit restrictive really, so I usually only buy better quality supplies when I'm more comfortable with an art medium, because then I already have more confidence and I can also appreciate the better quality more because I know what I'm working with. I'd really love to get into painting more now that I have this small studio space. I'm so excited to have a semi-permanent space to work from now. I just feel like there's so much potential for making things, and I'm in a really open creative mood lately where I'm very happy to just play around and make marks in my sketchbook without much expectation. And I think that's really healthy for me and will hopefully help my skills grow as well, because exploring is learning. So I'm trying not to overthink things in my sketchbook and just let it unfold. I think that for me right now, digital art is where I'll make my more detailed art and my professional work, like for picture books. And my sketchbook is a safe space to play around and doodle and paint whatever I feel like. Digital art can feel quite precise because you can be so specific with colors and tools and the size of your brush, and you can undo and edit as well, whereas paints and markers feel more free because there's a lot less precision, which I actually really like. I've actually just made a second YouTube channel, which was not on my bingo card for the start of this year, but I realized I have lots of lovely footage of my art process and it's too long to put it all here on this channel. So I made a second channel as a place to share my calm, real-time art process videos. It's a mix of different mediums and kind of just whatever I'm drawing in my sketchbook at the time, so you can see my genuine, unfiltered art process, even for art that isn't anything breathtaking like these colourful bugs. Really, I'm just enjoying playing with colours and paints and pens and pencils, and that's really fun for me at the moment. So I'll be at this desk for a few months, which is really nice, but we'd still love to buy our own house somewhere in Tasmania soon, so fingers crossed I can find a sweet little spot to make into a permanent studio. I'd love to know if you have a dedicated space at home where you make your art, or do you kind of just create from the kitchen table when you get a chance? Let me know in the comments what your dream art studio setup would be, and that might help me with some ideas for what to look for. So I hope you've been well. I'm going to make some more art and I'll share it with you soon. Thanks so much for being here. Jump over to my second channel to make art with me in real time, or join me on Patreon to follow my art curriculum. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.